Okay, viewers, welcome to another broadcast of the High Net Worth Investors Guide. This program comes to you with the kind compliments of Global Capital Inc. and Pitch Deck 101 LLC out of New York, along with 10X Branding and Marketing LLC, also based in the United States of America. The High Net Worth Investors Guide stands on four important pillars. The key focus is to really help the public, whether you're in business or you have other aspirations, is to really get you to understand how to prepare yourself for success. So, under this heading, there is a lot of things that we will go into over a period of time to really help you to understand what is the law of preparedness. Along with this, we will talk about the law of expansion because very often we spend many, many years in the preparation zone. For example, you may spend quite a number of years at high school, then you move on, you spend perhaps 4 years to get your first degree, and then you spend a few more years to get your doctorate. All of this is preparation. But one of the things that we're seeing, sometimes you spend so much of your life in preparation without really making the commitment to apply that body of knowledge. So on this platform, we will talk about the law of application, and we will really help you to understand what it really takes for you to apply yourself to achieve the high level of success that you deserve, meaning you becoming the high net worth individual. Now, as you apply yourself after success the right way, you will start to accumulate a certain amount of success. Now, how do you manage this success is something that we are very concerned about. So, in terms of managing your gain, we will really help you to understand essential management tools that should be part of your arsenal. And once you master this concept of managing your gains, we then move on to ways to expand. Because the last thing that you want to do is to realize a certain degree of success and you become stuck in this zone. You want to expand. You want to start thinking like some of the real high net worth individuals in the world. All right. You want to start perhaps thinking like the Robert Kiyosaki, like the Andrew Carnegie, some of those, all of these guys' names that I have taught, they have left a legacy because of the system, this system to expand um, their wealth. So on this platform, again, these are some of the things that we will go deep into to ensure that you have a broad knowledge of these essential steps that you should be taking to one, prepare yourself to become a high net worth individual, and second, to ensure that you understand how to invest as a high net worth investor. That could be in business, that could be in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, that could be in the S&P 500, or it could be the REIT. All of these things over a period of time are things that we will go into to ensure that you have a clear working knowledge of that. Now, with that being said, I'm happy to have two of my colleagues. We have Paul Whitehouse, and Paul Whitehouse, I keep saying he served in the police force in the United States of America. He is a real estate investor. He is a loan broker, and he has a rich history in business behind his name. So I'm happy to have him today to support me in moderating in this program. And I'll give him a chance to speak shortly. I also want to thank Peter, another good colleague. He is very rich with religion, but he's also rich with a passion to touch and transform people's lives by helping them to develop their master plan for life. Or one of the things that he talked about is that for your business, you have your business strategic plan. For your building, you have your builder's plan drawing, but for your life, you have no master plan. So he's very passionate about that. So I'm happy to have these two guys here to join me today as we do a deep dive into concepts that can help you and position you to become a high net worth investor. Paul, all to you. Welcome, my friend. Do introduce yourself, and we can love to hear from you.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Peter. Always happy to be here with you guys. Uh, from Northeast Ohio, Patriot Business Finance Consultants. That's our company. It's co-owned. One of my best friends from when we were kids. He's my business partner. And they say don't go into business with friends. It worked out for me. I mean, this guy is easy to operate with. But what we provide is financing for businesses through a network of lenders. We do it. One of our slogans is we do it better than the bank. And we do, because the bank will only tell you what they have available. They will not tell you to go down the road a quarter mile, turn left, and there's less expensive money there. That we can take care of that for you. So equipment financing, real estate financing, factoring, purchase order financing, and anything with industrial hemp fiber, we love it. Thank you, Gary.
Always great to hear from you, my friend. Peter Goose Scott, all to you, my friend. Do introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your brand. You're mute, Peter.
Okay, there we go. There we go. All right. So as Gary mentioned, my name Peter Richard Goscott Senior. I am my wife and I. We formulated the Petra Diversified Investors Group a few years ago, 2020, and we used this entity to pack several, or for now, a few brands that we manage. We manage the Legacy Chronicles brand, which we utilize. We develop a business format around my wife's skill as a individual that understands the English language and knows how to help individuals to edit books, how to structure their thoughts and their ideas, to publish their ideas, and so we utilize, use our skill sets to formulate the Legacy Chronicles, by which we help individuals to write their personal life story. Then we assist them to transform their expertise into courses. We then help individuals to become publishers, public speakers, consultants, and coaches. With behind that, we recognize that an individual who is going into publishing, oftentimes they need authenticity. They need somebody to endorse them. They need a framework that will cause them, as that individual who is just fresh into the marketplace, we empower them now to develop their, like, trust factor in the marketplace. So we also have a magazine publishing program. So we have the Legacy Chronicles magazine. We have a Kingdom Times magazine that we use to add value as that stepping stone for individuals to develop greater recognition faster in the marketplace. So with that, our message, our number one message that we utilize to communicate the value that we offer to the marketplace, is that most persons, especially when they have, this fervor to go out to create impact, they want to tell their story. But, within the plethora of ideas that people may have, sometimes what their ideas need is structure. Any enterprise whatsoever, they realize that for them to go out into the marketplace, what's the number one? What we often ask our clients, we say to them, okay, get all the words that you like. Of all the words that you like, narrow that down to your five best words. What are the five best words that comes up, that makes up your passion? That, when you hear that word, it causes goosebumps to run across your skin. What are those words? And then narrow down those five words to one word. What is your one word? There's a lot that can be done when people understand their one word. That becomes now their signature message. And so our signature message, that we have narrowed it down, is that we want people to understand their master plan. Every individual must have a master plan, especially now at the end of the year. Individuals like to go into they're going to do their New Year's resolution, and oftentimes we discover that New Year's resolution doesn't work because we tend to pack all of our future into one year. And then when we do not see the progress taking place, then by the first 3 months into the year, people becomes discouraged and they throw their hand up and they give up. So we're encouraging individuals to write a master plan, write a master plan, a personal life master plan, a family life master plan, a community master plan, and a corporate master plan. When we begin to think this way, when we begin to think longer than just a year that is coming, when we think about where our lives are coming from, and in essence, the Legacy Chronicles program that we implement it in a way by which now individuals, we get them now to write their story. We get individuals to write their personalized story, and in writing your story, it gives you a bird's eye view of what your life is all about. And so, a part of our process in developing the personal life master plan, we get persons to sit, they become the center of their attention, the center of their focus, so that they can get a good grasp on themselves, who they are. And in essence, they are now more equipped to empower their families, empower their community, empower their world. And by essence, their world becomes a better, our world, their world will become a better place.
Well, that was a lot to digest, but I like it. I like you spoke about,
Mhm.
getting your clientele base to focus on five, and then you reduce the five to one, and then you get them to expand on that one as their value offer. And we're on the same path where a lot of these concepts are concerned. In my last book, Master the Sales Communication Process, we introduced the very concept. And we introduced the concept by looking at what we call your MVO. The MVO means your minimum viable offer. But then the minimum viable offer represents three important concepts. One, it talks about what really is the minimum viable offer, and that is you going to market with the simplest of products, is you going to market with the lowest hanging fruit. And then we have the most viable offer. The most viable offer is a product or service that is being built out for high net worth individuals. And that's different than going to market with the lowest hanging fruit. The third aspect is where we talk about the maximum viable offer. And here is where we see many persons become choked because the maximum represents the five, or the 10 that Peter would have just mentioned. The challenge that we are seeing today with a lot of rising stars in business, you have a lot of great ideas and you're entitled to have those great ideas. But those great ideas need to be worked into, as Peter would say, a master plan that represents short and long term goals. Now, we are not saying don't go to market with your maximum viable offer, but we're saying to you there's a right and there's a wrong time, and there's a right and there's a wrong way to do this. And let me just explain this, why I'm saying what I'm saying. To go to market, even with your minimum viable offer, it would require human resources, technical resources, and as Paul would say, it would require capital resources because you need capital to move the vision forward. And what happens when you go to market with the maximum? In most cases, you do not have adequate human resources, you do not have adequate technical resources, and you do not have adequate capital resources. So that becomes a tremendous challenge for you to elevate the product or service in the minds of the consumers. And by elevating, what exactly am I saying? Any product or service, you have to be prepared to start investing in building relationship. And Paul, Peter, and I, and other colleagues, we talk about this a lot. If you're not investing in building quality relationships with the right people, it's going to be a struggle to elevate your products and services in the minds of critical stakeholders. Then we talk about things like visibility and reach and impact and client optimization and cash flow optimization. All of this becomes easier for you to accomplish when you truly understand how to master the 1 in 10 factor of brand selection. Now, what I'm going to do very quickly, I just want to point out some additional advantages in going to market with the 1 in 10 factors brand selection. So I'm just expanding a little bit on the points that Peter would have made. Why should you focus on one product or one service as a rising star in business when you're going to market? I've already established that it's going to require a lot of human resource, technical and resources, and capital resources if you do many things at one time. The advantage that you have when you focus on one is that it reduces the cost of doing business. And just think about this. You have one product, one service that is at the forefront of your mind. All right. So you're able to apply all the human resources, all the technical resources, all the capital resources to elevate that product or service in the minds of the public. The cost of doing business simply by doing this has reduced. Think about it. If you go into market with 2 and 3 different products, the limited resources that you have is going to be split among the 3 value proposition. So the cost goes up instead of the cost coming down. So one major advantage is that you get to reduce the cost of doing business. But guess what else? Because you're going to market with a single value offer, you're able to more effectively manage your time. Because in most cases, as rising stars in business, you tend to multitask. And think about this. It happens all the time. I know because I provide training across the world. And very often I interface with a rising star in business. And the rising star is the public relation manager, is the HR manager, is the CFO, chief financial officer, is the chief negotiator. I mean, think about it. You're splitting your time and your energy to do all of this, and you cannot manage your time effectively. And just think about this. Had you, let us say I'm going to focus on one thing here. I'm going to focus on sales and marketing. Think about how much more you would be able to achieve when your focus is on the one. You will be able to save a lot of time and achieve much more in terms of achieving a desired end result. So these are 2 major benefits that we have looked at here when you focus on the MVO. Now, in addition to this, when you focus on the 1 in 5 or 10 factor of brand selection, when you focus on the one, it helps to reduce stress. Doing business is not necessarily the easiest thing. It requires time, talent, and resources. And when you split your time, your talent, and your resources among doing multiple things, because you're not in a position of strength as yet to delegate it out to other critical stakeholders, you have to do it yourself, it becomes a burden. It becomes very stressful. So if you want to divorce yourself from stress, focusing on the one, the minimum viable offer or the most viable offer, it's a smart thing to do. All right. So there's a lot more that I want to talk on this particular topic. But one way in which you could really position yourself to start thinking like high net worth individual and invest in your time, talent, and your resources like high net worth investors, you need to understand some of these concepts. So now if you have a business, again, if you're not training your mind to see your mind and see you as a high net worth individual, you most likely will remain small in business. All right, you will remain small because people never grow beyond their sense of self. By extension, your business will not be able to expand. And that's why we're doing this program to really get you to start. You're going to start small, but the aim is not to keep you small. The aim is to start you off here, ensure that you have all the support that you need at the strategic, tactical, and operational level to accelerate your path to success. So I'm going to stop here for now, and I will drop in a few more nuggets as we go deeper into the program. Paul, what are your thoughts? I mean, I know that you bring the wealth of finance to businesses. I don't know if you want to contribute based on some of the thoughts that myself and Peter would have made, or if you want to go straight into how finance can really help the individual to become that, you know, high achiever, high net worth investor. All to you, my friend.
Thank you. Well, I would definitely like to comment on what you said because it's extremely important. Finance doesn't matter if you don't have everything else in order because everything has to be flow smoothly.
Yep,
What you said really reminded me of what somebody taught me 3 or 4 years ago. The founder does not have to be the CEO. They take the role that they're best at. Hire a CEO who is an expert at being a CEO. Founders
exactly,
of companies,
exactly.
yeah, they believe that they have to come in and take that role. Everybody wants the role. CEO sounds so cool, but it's just a title. It's 3 letters. It's all it is. 3 words, 3 letters. So taking the role that they're good at, which that could be the face of the company, that could be the person who's inventing new products. Whatever role that they're best at is the role that a founder should take. Um, and I don't know why this I interviewed an outstanding one of our clients yesterday. One of our clients for a new fiber processing facility. I interviewed him because I'm going to start putting a few interviews of successful people because I want people to have hope that anybody can do it. T.J. Campbell grew up in Compton. Boom. I mean, you could say that's a disadvantage right off the bat. You could say it. I don't know if it is growing up anywhere, but he grew up. Now he owns an insurance company, licensed in 7 states, and he does it for all the right reasons, for service, to give people, not just to make money. Money comes after you give service. And one of the questions I asked him was, what would you say to somebody? And he says he's got 4 words: you can and act now. You can and act now. Because the point of the interview was me asking him, how did you come up? We want to make real life examples, people to hear real life action heroes and how they did it. And he said that a teacher or one of his mentors gave him a mind shift once. He viewed himself as a basketball player. That's where he was going in life. But he carried a briefcase when he went to these community development meetings. And one of his current mentors said to him, you look like you would be a businessman. And that switched his mindset. He never imagined himself as that before, but then he claimed that role. And that's really what he was trying to stress yesterday during that interview. Define your role, claim it. He mirrors what you say, what you and Peter say, Gary. You guys would. I can't wait to introduce you to him because I know you would love this guy. But believe in yourself, know that you can do it, act now, and charge forward. I don't know if that hit on all the topics or if I don't know if I went off topic, but that's
No,
what.
no, no, no. That's good. Believe in yourself, believe and act now. And there's a lot of depths to what you're saying there, because as I move around to various organizations to provide training, one of the things that is not adequately looked at is how belief in self influences workforce performance.
Mm.
All right. How much does belief in self influence leadership output? And I'm saying this against the backdrop because traditionally one would want to believe that once the workforce understand the concepts of management, the concepts of leadership, the academic concept, it is the where it all. But I've seen in many years of training that persons may understand the academic principle, they may understand the leadership and management principle, but the leadership ability, the belief in self, is where the greatest challenge lies. And that's a lot about this. I can see Paul is laughing. The
No,
belief in
no.
self. Go ahead, let me hear you.
Oh, I don't want to stop a rolling train. I just what you're saying right now is what TJ said
Mm,
to me yesterday. I said, "How'd you make it happen?" He goes, "First, you go into the corporate world, you get licensed, you go into the corporate world, you're doing writing policies. Then, when you want to become your own broker, you adopt the broker mentality, the corporate mentality. But what switched for him was, and I love the way you said it, the point of mastery. That one point where you cross the line, it's not like you know everything, but now you're very competent. Your actions have been validated in the past. Things that you've done have worked. Things are working. Um, yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, Gary. You were going good, but
mm,
I was
no,
smiling. I was
it's okay.
smiling because as soon as you were talking, I was like, "That's the point of mastery right there."
You got it. You got it. So that's an area that we really want to emphasize to managers and corporate leaders around the world. You may have the best academic content, but if you're not helping the individual to connect with their inner beauty and to grow from their inner self that Paul has just mentioned, that's your sense of self, your sense of purpose, your sense of direction. It doesn't matter what you do. Their ability to apply themselves can only come from their belief in themselves. And if they believe in themselves, it's going to significantly increase the output, all right, productivity and profitability of the organization. Now, you would have also mentioned a couple other things, Paul. You talk about, you don't have to know everything. And we emphasize this a whole lot. And that's why we talk about the 20/80 rule. You don't want to be the generalist, all right? It is more advantageous for you to be the specialist because it's when you focus on the 20%, it is what allows you to truly expand in your area of specialty. You're now able to see gaps and opportunities and threats and better able to strategize yourself to capitalize on those factors. And one more point I want to make here. You find traditionally as you nurture the mind in the workforce, it is based on the theory. So you have developed the system, they go through the academic, program, and they're exposed to a theory. But very often you find that when they start to apply that theory, it takes them some time to get accustomed to it. It takes them some time to to really adjust themselves to it because the theory is going to be somewhat different in practice. What we have done, we have built out most of our program to represent what we call 120 hours of training. We allocate about 72 hours to focus on the theory because you need to understand the theory. But then we also allocate 48 hours to the practice. And here is where we teach the candidate the theory, if it's marketing, if it's sale, if it's public relation, if it's how to apply the pull factors of sale or the push factor of sale. So they understand the theory of this, but then they also have 48 hours to apply this concept and assess the results. One of the things, and I think we spoke about this a few weeks ago, Paul, there's a certain type of learning that we all get through the application of the concept. You can be excellent at the theory. Being excellent at the theory doesn't make you an expert. It is when you apply that body of knowledge and you're able to get feedback and you apply it so much that you can actually predict the outcome. You have predictability factors now. Is that predictability factor that helps you to become an expert in what you're doing? You might be a theory on finance, but if you have never applied it, you don't know if it's going to work. You don't know what are the pitfalls, or if even it work, what are some of the pitfalls. But as you get into it, you start to see all the nuts and bolts, and you can tighten here and slacken here, and you create that. So learning must represent the theory, the practice, and what we are also calling tangible results. In our program, we talk about what we call new concept that we have developed that we call the TPOC, targeted performance outcome. And targeted performance outcome on in our program exists on four spectrums. I will not get into it now, but whatever you set out to do, you want to be clear about your outcome. It's not just the theory. It's not just the practice. But as you combine theory and practice, what is the desired results are we looking at? And we're going to be using all type of management systems to tweak the boat and navigate the ship to the exact targeted outcome that you want. And we'll go into that as time progresses. But I take away that from some of what you were saying, Paul, and that was a very great concept. So I'll leave it there. Peter?
Thank you.
You're mute, Peter.
Yeah, what I wanted to follow up with what you're saying and what Paul initiated, as he spoke about the gentleman that made a shift in who he is or who he was. He thought his skill sets were this particular person, and then when somebody, a mentor, was able to show him, you would be in better service in this area. The individuals, what we want to say to the individuals viewing this broadcast is that as an entrepreneur, and the term that you mentioned, Paul, was a founder. As a founder of anything at all, any entity, any problem solving service that you're bringing into the marketplace, there, for you to become successful in the marketplace, there is a journey that every individual has to go through, and more often than not, the individual has to experience these. It's about 7 platforms, or about 7 um, transitional process that the individual will have to go through. So they're going to start out as a leader. They're going to start out as a leader because it's going to start as a passion inside of them. There is something that is pulling on them, that why don't somebody do something about it? There is a gap within the marketplace, and why don't somebody find something that is going to fulfill this gap? That is going to develop your leadership skills. The leadership skills now is going to take the bull by the horn and says, okay, let me do the research. So you're going to go into that moment of research and development, where you're going to test. You're going to come up with the gadget, the potion, the lotion. You're going to test it out on your friends, your family. You're going to test it on your inner network to see if this is something that is really viable. So you're a leader. Now you become the research and development personnel. Then okay, so now that it is ready, you found that it is viable. Then you're going to test it by marketing it. You're going to go out into the marketplace to see how big of a market that this can meet, because you do not want to go out there with something that, yes, it is viable, but it's only a few people need it. If you're going to really build a business, you want to be able to serve a very large portion of the market. So now you become the marketing personnel. It's still you alone, but you don't have a business yet. You're building. You're an entrepreneur at this point. You're penetrating the marketplace. So now you're at the marketing. You are now the market. So you are still the leader. You are still the research and development specialist, or the research and development personnel. Now you're taking on new role as a for marketing, because you are testing this new thing that you're doing. Now you realize that there's a lot of persons out there that needs this. Now you begin to now sell it. You have to now develop your ability to speak those words, to communicate those words that persons is going to, as Gary mentioned, it has to have the pull factor, where somebody will cross the line to go down into their pocket and says, based upon what you say to me, that promise that about that service or that product, it will satisfy the need I have, in so much that I'm willing to give you my hard-earned money for it. No, you got to build out that. You got to build out the sales systems, and the distribution systems now will come about as you begin to, how are you going to do this? Are you going to go retail? Are you going to go manufacture wholesale? Are you going to do it online? So you got to decipher out all of that. And at the same time, you are still the only one, because it is still a concept that you're using. You're bringing it to the marketplace, and then when it starts to sell, then you got to now become the manager. You got to manage all of these process. Then you got to have customer, make sure that you treat the people right, so that they will constantly come back to you. So we have customer retention. So these 8 levels, you have to go through all of that, those 8 levels. But then, as the gentlemen were saying, after, you will come to a point where you are now exhausted. It's a part of the process. You have to wear all those hats. But when you reach that point where you have gone through that process, now is what where I go into now, the community master plan. This is where the community master plan becomes valuable, because you got to realize, for you to actually grow to the next level, you are going to find somebody who is an expert in the area of the product, the research and the development. You got to find somebody now who is good at sales. You're going to find somebody who is good at marketing. You're going to find somebody who's going to help you with the management process, with the customer relation process. So you got to know, put yourself out there to attract the individuals who are going to support you in your moving forward. So that will now put you to that next level. And hence now you're going to bring in the corporate master plan, because now each person will have to know what their roles are. We all have to come to an agreement with what our roles are if we're going to move this process to the next level. So it is a journey, but it's a journey that is worthwhile. And so, as Paul said, this his colleague was able to become one, from a person who was born on disadvantage, so to speak. But then he learned, first of all, you have to understand what the processes are. The earlier you learn what those processes are, and you're able to navigate yourself, navigate your way through this process, and you also know your limitation. And when you're going to stop doing it by yourself and beginning to involve other persons that you can pass on your responsibilities to, when you're able to do that, then you become like that individual. Now he's able to to delegate himself and find other areas within the marketplace that he can go through.
Wow, powerful share. Paul, you're mute, Paul.
Thank you. Can I add something to what Peter said, please?
Go right ahead, my friend.
I, you know, that same brilliant person who I respect so much, who I still work with today, who told me the story about that the founder does not have to be the CEO, take the role that you're best at. Just hitting right on what Peter said. Yeah, you got to walk up that ladder. You got to wear all the hats. And when you get to that point to where you're comfortable to delegate as you're growing, you can't do it all, so you simply have to do that. But when you're at that stage, since you know a little bit about all the other stages, you know how to sell, because you can't own a business and not know how to sell. You can't. Um, you can go deeper into that, because whatever your role is as the founder of that company, you're going to be keeping your eye on the CEO. You're going to be learning his role. You're going to be looking over his shoulder. He's going to be teaching you just through the words that he speaks to you during meetings. Even if he's not teaching you how to be a CEO directly, as you listen to him fulfilling his role, you're instantly going to absorb it. And the same thing with every other division in your company. You might not be an accountant, you're not going to want to be a CFO, but as you converse with the CFO, you will automatically learn from him as time progresses. I thought that was very important. And I don't mean to take the conversation backwards. And I only want to throw this out here because I want to underscore what you said earlier about theory versus real world. Okay. Black belts in karate. I love karate. I got my black belt at age 17. And if
You're a black belt? My God, I didn't know that. I have two kids who are black belts, man.
awesome. Well, it was I was a shy kid, and that helped me become not shy. Also, my first job helped me become not shy, a grocery store. I was shy with girls, and then all of a sudden I'm surrounded by girls at a grocery store. I wasn't shy anymore. But like the theory,
Yeah,
like if you're
martial arts, not continue, but martial arts that do help to bring out that
yeah, but
lion in you.
applying that real world, um, black belts get beat up all the time. You have a black belt, it doesn't mean a thing. It doesn't mean anything. It means a little. It means something, but the rest of it is you. So as a kid, like a lot of boys, you get into fights. Okay, boom, getting into fights. Then I got the black belt. I got a little bit better. I still won and I still lost. But the real life transition for me was when I started working as a police officer, and you get attacked. Or if you're not getting physically attacked, if you tell somebody to turn around and put your hands behind your back and they don't do it and they're not going to do it, well, something's got to be done. So that's the transition from theory.
Yeah.
If you're a black belt and you've never been in a fight, well, then it doesn't mean a thing. It holds your pants up. But
No, seriously, he's right. He's
Yeah, mine
right.
is black too. I've got a black
Yeah,
belt.
I got a black belt on right now too. No, I took it off.
you
It's back
know,
there, but it holds my pants up.
no, it's true. My baby boy, he is now 16, but he has his black belt, and I can recall when he had to go to fight for tournament. He has never fought before in his life, and he said, "I'm going to go," and then he said, "I'm not going to go," because he was concerned of going and the black belt was as a belt. However, he started to train, and the guy brought home, I think, two gold medal the very first fight. He has never lost the fight, but the reality is, if he didn't go out to test the waters and understand what that world is all about, all he would have had is a black belt that was never tested.
Right.
All right, so go continue speaking, Paul. Go on.
Oh,
I just
that's
wanted to
all.
add that piece.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just really liked what you said about going from theory to actually doing it.
yeah,
And
you need to do it.
the 72 hours on theory that you provide would be useful, but it wouldn't be realistic And that additional 48 hours that you provide in real world action and activity, that makes the first 72 workable. Because without it, I
Exactly.
don't think the first 72 would be worth much.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. But I want to expand on what you were saying. You know, owning a business doesn't mean that you have to be the CEO, and that's true. And I think that what has to happen, understanding the ecosystem of how business is done, is so important when it comes to start thinking like a high net worth individual or a high net worth investor. The quick example that I want to give, the way real investors think, they may own 60% of the company, but all they have is a seat on the board. Because what they're doing, they're bringing their investment, they're bringing some of their ideas. They are going to test that you understand what they're doing, what you're doing, and then they're going to invest confidence in you. And they just take a seat on the board to direct the process and influence the process. They don't need to, micromanage that process. Great leaders don't want to micromanage. All right. They are identifying potentials in business leaders all across the world, and they are adding support. And when you're adding the support, you don't want to be the CEO of all of those, entities that you're supporting and investing in. You may have a seat on the board, but although you may be a majority stakeholder, you don't want to be CEO of all of them. It's impossible. All right. We'll go deeper into that as time progresses, as we unlock, some wealth management secrets and techniques. But I want to also hit back on some of what Peter would have said. He spoke about market research. And I can't emphasize the importance of market research enough. So I just want to go a little bit more into what he would have said, because sometimes market research is viewed as an abstract term. And I want to try my best here to just unlock it a little bit so people have a clearer understanding that when Peter says market research and market intelligence, what is he saying? One thing that he's saying is that, do you understand the size of your market? Now, if you're in business and you don't understand the size of your market, it means that you don't understand the potential of your market to cash flow. You're just doing a guesstimate. You're just speculating that this is the potential of the market to cash flow. What we see is that many rising stars in business, you develop your business plan without understanding the market dynamics. And understanding market size is very important. As you understand market size, you want to understand market density. All right. And that could be looked at from a localized perspective, from a regional perspective, or from an international perspective. All of these things is important concepts for you to understand. And this is what Peter has hinted on. I'm just trying to go a little deeper into it. And then there's a concept that we call disbursement. Because the market size might be big, but they may be geographically dispersed. How does that affect your ability to access that market? Again, as Paul would have hinted on a lot of things early on, when you have the right mentors, the right coach, the right support systems around you, it helps to quicken your steps in making the right business decision, um, smart business decision, and to be more results driven, because you have the right expert on your side to guide your steps. And I'm going to end on saying this: market intelligence, market research is the oxygen for every business. It helps you to understand who you're targeting, why, what are their needs and wants and expectation, and how to innovate products and services to reach those needs and wants. So, in whatever you're doing in business, I want you to remember these three terms. You want to be market oriented. Market oriented means that you're indeed doing the research. You're not speculating about your market size. You're not speculating about the needs and wants and expectation of your ideal client. You are not speculating about these things. You are market oriented. That means you got boots on the ground. All right. And you come into the ground to interface with your market. And that's how you become market oriented. Step two, become market sensitive. Because doing the research, if you're not adopting a market sensitive approach to doing business, you're not applying marketing concepts in the way you should apply them. Market sensitive means that you truly understand the data that you're looking at. You can do the research and you have data, but do you understand the data enough to adopt the culture of the organization to be sensitive to that data? All right. And the last concept that I want to say, being sensitive should also translate into being responsive. There are some people that may be sensitive to the market needs, but make a conscious decision that I'm not going to conduct the organization in a manner to be responsive to all of those needs. When you want to win in business, you have to be responsive to people's needs, their wants, and their expectations. That's what's going to get you through the know, like, and trust. That's what's going to get you through building confidence, trust, and credibility, and ultimate you bring you to that point of cash flow optimization. So I'm going to pause here for now, and definitely have you guys chime in. Peter, Paul.
Peter, you go first, buddy.
Okay. Yeah. What I was thinking about as you were talking about market research, or because the next level that an individual will go from market research is marketing, and for you for marketing to be effective, there are certain words that is essential. Your marketing message is going to be essentials, and it is within the market research, your research and development area, that you're going to develop the language, because as an individual begin to discover that there is a need for this particular product or service that they're taking to the marketplace, and they begin to find out that these are the people are most likely to accept this product or service. What you do find is that each person or each area or a potential customer in the market, they speak a certain way. There's a certain language that they speak. And if you do not now learn the language that those persons speak and communicate the message, the promise, the big promise that the product or the service is able to solve, you'll have to now coin a certain language that your market speak, and that is now becoming your market message. You know, because there are certain, if you check any individual, the way how they speak, you'll find that there are certain words, it boils down to about 5 or 7 words, that those 5 or 7 words, the 7 words, always show up in their sentences. It is just the way how that culture, as Gary mentioned, and then so now you will have to adapt your message to suit that culture so that they will understand it. It makes no sense you go into an area and you're speaking French, and the people who you're bringing your product to, they speak Spanish. It's a great product, can solve their problem, but then you are using the wrong language to communicate the value of your service. Gary's laughing. No, you know, there's a disconnect there. So yes, I'm just saying, Gary, yes, the market research is so vital. It is indeed, as you say, the oxygen, because it is there you're going to find all the information that you're going to translate into your marketing message, which is going to translate into sale, which is going to translate into the distribution, the management, the customer service, and the retention.
Peter, what you're talking about there, I am laughing because it is so deep, it is so profound, and I think that very often people underestimate what the marketing process represents. You know, you talk about a few words that can be used to help you to connect with the ideal client. Well, in the deepest of marketing terms, we call it psychographic data or psychographic biodata. Now, and here again is where research comes in. And just before I expand on this particular point, in the sales efforts, we have what we call cold calling, we have the hard sales representatives, and there's what we call the pull factors of sale. So we look at two types of sale: the push factors of sale. The push factors is when traditionally you train your marketing team to do marketing, and you say get out there, push visibility, push the sale of the product. But what we see happen very often, you train them to understand some sales concept, you sell them to get out there to do the sale, but you didn't train them to do exactly what you talk about there, Peter. Understand people based on psychographic and influence the sale based on psychographic, not deceptive psychographics, but innovate customer response based on innovating products and services that you know will reach their needs, their wants, and their expectations. And this is why, Peter, you find that the experience of most salespeople is not an experience that they embraced. People come into sale today and they leave next week because of the fact that there's a strain to get out there and push push the sale. But when you understand what we call the pull factors of sale, it really enables you to build up what we call personal branding. And through your personal branding, through your knowledge of what you're doing, and through the knowledge of the market, you attract the ideal client over to you. And you attract them based on your ability to deliver value above and beyond their expectations. So, marketing is deep. And if you are positioning yourself to become a high net worth individual or a high net worth investor, these important concepts that we are discussing here today is so important. And I just want to bring a little bit to, access to capital and investment. Any rising star in business who is able to articulate themselves well enough about understanding their market based on demographic data, psychographic data, geographic data, it is something investors want to hear. Because the main fact that you understand the biodata markers of the ideal client, you understand their pain point and their push point and their motivational factors, and you are now innovating based on this data, it tells you that you have the highest chance to convert the client into a consumer. And if you know what you're doing, we like to emphasize converting first time users into lifetime customer because you're making a promise and a commitment to deliver value above and beyond their expectations. Investors, when they are listening to you and they know that you understand what you're doing in this regards, they want to come on your side, Peter. They want to be there with you because they know that their skin in the game is heavily supported by your knowledge And everything that we're talking about here is what's going to also help you to understand, and when you're talking to investors, one of the things that we love to ask, tell us about your financials. And you can give financials based on speculation. Now, when you're talking to a knowledgeable individual in terms of what they're doing, you have to have data. And everything that we're talking about, your market size is one major factors that you're going to be used to do your financial analysis. Paul, what are your thoughts?
Well, what this made me think of, what Peter said, was selling cars. There's you matching and mirroring your customer. You're the same person. You just have the ability to match and mirror. If somebody comes in
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking at a minivan and they got 3 kids, they're very likely interested in safety, fuel mileage, and you can talk,
Psychographics. Exactly.
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 So you're talking to them about what they want to hear. You are going to go over all features. You're going to tell them that that's a V6 Honda engine that'll go 400,000 miles and it gets 30 miles per gallon and it's got 250 horsepower. You're gonna tell them that. But you're going to say it and then you're going to move on to what they want to know more about. And if you're selling a Corvette to somebody, they probably don't care as much about the safety features. A little bit. They're going to want to know. You're going to want to tell them all the advanced safety features, but they're more going to want to hear that the ZR1 has 655 horsepower as compared to the standard base Corvette that has 455 horsepower. And there's everybody in between. There's the slow buyer, and none of this is fake, by the way. When a car salesman, I mean, I guess it would be for some of them. I can't speak for all of them, but it shouldn't be. So when a car salesman is talking to you, and you're that type of buyer, and he recognizes it, and he's not recognizing it for a negative purpose to zero in and get the kill. It's just how he operates. If you're the type of buyer who needs time, and you do need a day to make a decision, and I want to get to know this guy. Hey, you got kids around here? Yeah, we go to the same school. Mine's in eighth. Oh, mine's in 11th grade. My oldest one goes to college. Those are some things people want to discuss with you because they discuss it with everybody in their life, and you're the next person to discuss it with. But moving on to another type of person who's like fast paced, he wants to come in, get the information. He doesn't want to be asked about his kids because in some people's viewpoint, that's wasted time. They're there for something else. They're not there to discuss their life story with you, while others do want to share their story with you. So matching, mirroring, um, yeah, exactly. That lines up with what you guys are talking about. And you said, how did you say it, Gary? I'm so sorry. Psychological marketing, right?
Yeah, understanding the psychographics of the ideal client. And
Yes.
the more you know about the client, which is everything that we're talking about here, is what enables you to make the sale. You see, the push factors of sale traditional when we look at it is that you have a car or you have whatever you're selling, but the person you're selling to, they're concerned about safety issues. They're concerned about energy efficiency. They're concerned about all of these things. And what you're selling to them is a fast car that, cuts against all of their security, concern and safety concern. But when you understand your target market, and this is what Peter spoke about early on, research,
Mm-hmm.
market intelligence is what we should be using to influence the sales process. And that's what's going to allow you to win. But it's a deep subject matter, and you find that many students of sales and marketing, they tend to run away from having that complete understanding of what this ecosystem represents. And in the process, they walk away, they run away, they become frustrated. And perhaps teachers in these platforms at a corporate level, perhaps they are not doing a well enough job in terms of helping the students to see the real joy in applying themselves at marketing. Uh, in my last book, Master the Sales Communication Process, we map out the role of what we call sales communication professionals. And the reason we coined the term sales communication professionals because our salespeople is not just skilled in sales. They understand communication. They understand communication processes. All right. What is the send-in process? What is, the messaging process? What is the encoding process? What is the decoding process? What is noise in the channel of communication, and what systems you need to use to avoid the noise or to get past the noise? Because all of these things affect your sales effort. And a quick example of this, let us suppose that you're not the only salesperson in the room, you have multiple salespeople in the room. That is noise. Or multiple salespeople using one communication channel to get the message out. That is noise. Perhaps your advantage would be how much you understand who you're talking to, how
Mhm.
much you understand who your value offer is built for, and you speak to those essential talking points. So there's a lot that goes into it, and over a period of time, we will begin to unlock it because it's one thing to access the capital. It is another thing to drive sales. It's another thing to drive brand awareness. It's another thing for you to position yourself as, as the leader in your space. So these are all the things that we're going to go into over a period of time to ensure that our community have enough information even before they start their journey into business and to apply and to avoid pitfalls that can leave them bruised and perhaps badly wounded. Um, Go ahead, Paul.
Well, even if you're in business right now, you don't want to get bruised, badly injured, and wounded. And this information right here, if you don't know it already, because there was a point when I was in business and I didn't know it, I wish I would have learned it or had somebody teach it to me.
Mhm, 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 mhm.
Yes, having a mentor, having a coach, having a support team around you, it's important.
Yeah.
What I want to emphasize here, right, on this platform, Peter, Paul, and I, we are not here to give a theory. You know, we live what we are talking about. We support companies with what we are talking about. And I'm not, blowing my own trumpet, but everybody here are humanitarians. Peter come from a rich, Christian background, and he believed in giving service. My interaction with Paul has really helped me to understand also that he is on the same path. He believes in providing service to humanity. And all those who know me, have spent quite a number of years working behind the Inspire the Child, Inspire Change Foundation and so many other institutions just providing service. We are here to provide service. So we are not here to give a theory. So if you're in business and you need support to grow and expand, if you're in business and you need access to capital, if you're in business, you really want to understand how to, you know, better navigate the market or to grow and expand regionally, I want to say to you, reach out to us. All right. We are only a call away. We are only a text away. We are only an email away. Reach out to us and we will be happy to give you that support. I want to also say this as we begin to wrap up. Next week, we're going to be starting another initiative. It's going to be a morning initiative. It's going to be light. It's going to be business, but we want to introduce to you a new concept that's going to help you. It's going to be something for you to wake up to, something for you to, travel to work with, and have something motivational, inspiring, and in business for you to work with. We're going to be starting competitive edge, and we're going to be giving you a lot of ideas that's going to help you to attain the competitive edge in business. All right, so that's going to be coming up on Monday, morning at 6 a.m. EST. If you're in the Caribbean, it's going to be 7 a.m. Caribbean time. So I want to encourage you to tune into that program, so you can benefit from the information that you will receive. Paul, Peter, open to you.
What we could say also to the audience that what we're saying is not just applicable to individuals um, who wants to go into business. We what we're saying, the people that I serve, as you mentioned, they are pastors and ministry leaders, but they are also career professionals as well. And a career professional may not see himself as being in business, as perhaps he is in a real estate agent. Well, most real estate agent would have some kind of a business is oriented to know that he's a business of himself. But most persons who are out there, sometimes they think that, okay, I'm a professional, but I don't have a business. But what we need individuals to understand that, yes, they are the business. I recently saw a quote, which I much agree with, that we are not actually selling goods and services. The goods and the service is the end result of a promise that is being made that this product and service will assist somebody. It is in the promise that this, what we are, or lotions and our potion, that it will solve the problems of the customers or clients that we are interfacing with. So when a person is buying a house, they're not just buying a house, they're buying security for their family. And if we do not understand how I'm going to communicate that value, that this piece of property is going to give them the security that they're looking for, they don't want it. And that can be said for just about any service or product, lotion or potion that we're putting out into the marketplace. So understanding that I am the business. And in essence, because it is based upon a promise that I'm delivering, I'm actually selling me because it is my credibility, it is my word that I'm actually putting out into the marketplace. And how I represent that word is the factor. Because when people can buy into me, and we're saying to our audience that what we want you to grasp is that as you put yourselves out there, you are actually the brand, and when you begin to understand, and going back now to what we had started out first about the sense of self, the sense of who we are, when we can understand those components as we interface with our market, it makes a whole world of difference. So we want to encourage individual that this is really not, these conversations, it's not about business, although they are. It's about you really. How do you represent yourself? How do you engage the marketplace? How do you fulfill your purpose, your mission? The design for your life, which was given to you to fulfill. And when you begin to, feel comfortable in that, and we want people when they come to this broadcast to understand that our objective is to cause them to feel comfortable in themselves, in what they represent, and how they're going to engage their community to the end result that persons will walk away from them and they feel good. I love how I felt when I was in that person's presence. And when we can expand that continually, yeah, the value, the money will come. The money will come.
I want to add, just before I come to Paul, I want to add just a little bit on what you would have said. I would have loved it ideally. I love the concept that it may not be a product, it may not be a service, it is the perceived benefits of, the offer. And that, it makes so much of sense. But what I also want to emphasize, in the ideal sense, there should be a separation between corporate branding and personal branding. In most cases, the persons executing the sale, they are not branded enough to be what you call a strong personal brand. And that again is why on our platform, when we talk about the pull factors of sale, the pull factors of sale really pushes the individual, the force, into that unique concept of personal branding to coincide with a corporate brand. And think about it, when we talk about the personal brand, we're talking who are you? And is what steps we are taking to help you, the salesperson, to become an influencer. All right. Just like how, we may have, highly influential people who are able to endorse a product or a service to optimize sales. What effort are we using to nurture our sales force to become that strong personal brand to complement the corporate brand? And there's a major gap because traditionally it's just about the sale. It's not about helping our sales force to become develop their personal brand to the extent that it adds significant value to the overarching corporate culture. So I love that concept that you would have made. And I'm going to pass to Paul. Paul?
I just really want to follow up on what Peter just, that beautiful and accurate statement that he just made. Okay, everything that we talk about on this show and that we're going to talk about in the future on this, it applies to life. I mean,
Mhm.
okay, I'm not going to say business is life, life is business. If you have a job, then business might not be of any concern to you. But if you look at it from 40,000 foot above and look down at it, not just at ground level, it really does. Everything we've said in the 4 or 5 shows that we've had so far, it completely applies to life. Okay, you got a profit and loss statement for your business. You've also got one for your life. And if we look at our profit and loss for our lives, we both got check. I can check down profit. And when I say profit, I'm not talking about money. On the profit side, boom, I got a lot of those. I've also got losses. But and with Peter's master plan for your life, that's I mean, that's something to think about. Okay. So everything
Mhm.
that we talk
Mhm.
about here realistically directly relates to life. I'll tie it in a little bit more. I'll tie it in with 2 things: matching and mirroring in sales. Yeah. Well, you should match and mirror in life. And I'm not talking about being fake. It's just responding to who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with an extremely angry person, you don't want to match and mirror them. You want to maybe be opposite, but you want to have the knowledge to know that. You know what I mean? You got to know to make moves, you got to know that there's different moves available. So if you're dealing with somebody who's trying to sell you something, you're not in business, you're going to go buy a car or buy furniture, you can match and mirror them and turn the game on them and save a couple of dollars. There's so many things that you can learn from what we're talking about that certainly apply to business, but absolutely apply to your everyday life also. And here would maybe be maybe the most important as far as relating to what we're talking about to business and life. Okay, in business, you want to give more perceived value. So for somebody to say yes to buy something, it has to be worth more than they're paying for it. It always has to be. They have to get more than they're giving, typically meaning 95% of the time. Okay. So it's $100. I'm going to, Gary, Peter, everybody viewing here, I'm going to give you $100 and it's only going to cost you $20. That's value. But you got to back it up and prove it. But that's value. And imagine, I mean, that works in business for sure. We all know that. But imagine if you applied that to your personal life. Imagine if you applied it to your family. And everybody does. I'm sure lots of people do. But there's also a lot of people who don't. So there's probably somebody sad and lonely divorced, and he wished he would have given 100 for 20, given all the value. But if we give that to everybody that we come across in life and business, even if you don't know that person, you're making an impact on them. You're showing them an example of how people should act. And giving more than you get is never a bad thing. It's always a good thing.
Well said, well said. And in some of my earlier books, I did mention that I could recall many years ago as I was lecturing marketing at the American University of the Studies, I would emphasize to my students that to build a successful brand is not about focusing on only the cash flow. You take the time to understand your target market and you make a commitment to give value above and beyond the client expectations. And once you're able to do this consistently, guess what? The cash flow will just flow because people know you can deliver, but not only deliver, you can deliver above their expectations. And because of that, you're not only getting consistency in their use of your talent, but they're now referring family and friends and their community over to you because you have made that commitment to deliver above and beyond expectations. So, Paul, I really love that statement. It has so much of depth. And as I guess as we start the weekly program, we will talk about this at a lighter level because sometimes what I see, you know, something you start a business and your focus now is not is on cash flow optimization. And because the focus is on cash flow optimization, it forces you to shortchange providing quality with consistency and above and beyond the expectation because at this stage it's just about the cash flow. That in itself is setting yourself up to go into a default setting that will undermine the success of the brand. We'll go deeper into all of that at a lighter level. But I really love what the concepts that were shared here today. So I will ask everyone to just give your closing remarks and we will wrap up today's program. But I want to thank each and every one of you in advance for the great contribution you have made. Who's going to go first?
I'll go because I can never follow up on Peter. He's the guy. He's a
Peter,
ninja. He's a ninja. I'll go first.
Peter, you
Uh,
make the guy break out the race first. You got to catch him up. He ain't catching you up.
well,
Okay.
I think the show is valuable. I think the information is valuable. I'm thrilled to be a part of it. And I just hope that it changes. I mean, everything I do, I want it to change somebody's life for the better. And I know that this will because that's what information does. And the information that we're putting out, and again, I'm so happy to be friends with you guys. I respect you, and I love hearing. With my business, I get to meet and talk with so many brilliant, smart people, and I love it. I love it. It makes me happy, and doing this show with you guys every day. It just I don't look it. I've got kind of maybe a calm, emotionless face. I try not to, but inside I'm having a party because of what I'm getting from you guys, and I know it's going to help everybody out there, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, indeed, to Paul, because you mentioned something else a while ago that I just had to grab, which is very much important, the profit and loss statement of life. And we don't think like that normally, in our day by day life. We don't see life like that we're losing or we're profiting day by day in how we spend our time. But when we begin to understand that life, irrespective of how we think about it, life is a business. Life
Mhm.
is a business. And the reason why there's so much poverty in our world is because people don't embrace that life is a business. Where you mentioned the lonely person that is they didn't recognize, that they ought to, treat the people in their lives well, and they kept withdrawing, and then they bankrupt the relationship, and now they're alone. But why? Life is a business. And if we do not understand that there is an exchange that we have to give and take, we have to give, as you mentioned, if you can give $100 and all the person needs to give is $20 to get that, it's a business mind that is going to give that individual. There has to be a certain level of industry in the way how we think if we're going to impact the world. And at the end of the day, we can check out and we know that our life has really impacted people. So it is important. But what we're also saying too is that we're going to make mistakes, you know, the best of us. And the best mistakes, um, or not the best mistakes, but the most valuable lessons that we can learn usually comes out of the worst mistakes that we make. If we should really look back at life, and it wasn't all that, it didn't turn out the way how I planned it. I offered $100, but I didn't really, the value that the person received was, they paid more. It cost them $110. And wow, I shouldn't have done that. I really shouldn't have. I should have had greater than that. But then now you learn. Now we can walk away, because the next person that we serve, we're gonna really make sure that they get $200 value, out of the $20 that we ask them as for the exchange. So yeah, but we learn, we learn, but our intention, the intention of being in business, the intention of living life on a day by day level is really to impact the community far greater than what the community is giving to us. And when we do that, then we can never be at loss.
Well, that was a powerful share, Peter. I just want to reflect just where you started. Uh, I wouldn't say, for me, while the concept of life and business is unique, I just want to add, manage your life like a brand, and you want to make your life a premium brand. All right. But as we said early on, for the business, you have your business plan. For your building, you have the builder's plan, prototype, and you have all of the design. But for your life, you don't have a master plan. So if you don't have that master plan for your life, what brand do you represent? You know, your life, if you make a conscious decision to take it into your hands and to mold it and to become the author to write those chapters, it can become a premium brand. It can become your premium brand. And I like the platform that you're on, because this is what you focus on. It's to manage your life like a business. Manage your life, like a brand. What brand do you represent? And I want to say this, Peter. I don't care where you came from. I don't care where you're at. That doesn't define you. What really defines you is what you're saying to yourself. What defines you is your commitment to want betterment in your life. What defines you is your ability to take all of this information that we're given to you and apply this information to your life. And again, if you need, we know that depending on where you are in life, you may not have the courage to do everything that we're saying or to apply everything that we're saying. That's okay. That's why you have mentors. That's why you have coach. That's why you have a support system. And we stand to represent all of the above. All you need to do is to reach out. Send us an email, a text, and we will be happy to give you that support. So love those comments that you made, Peter. Again, I want to say that this program comes to you or came to you with a compliment of Global Capital Inc., Pitch Deck 101 LLC, and 10X B&M LLC out of New York. Remember, on Monday, we're going to be starting a new program at 6 a.m. in the morning, EST time, title Competitive Edge. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be fun, full of fun, and you're going to be having a lot of information to give you, exciting start um, in the day. So remember to call a friend, tell a friend if you know someone is in business. I want to encourage you to share this content with them and get them to like and subscribe. So when you like and subscribe, you'll be the first to get these content that we are going to be bringing out more frequently. So with that being said, I want to thank Paul from the depths of my heart. Thanks again for coming out and support. And again, I want to emphasize, you may have a business and you may be saying to yourself, I don't have access to capital. If you're in the US or in Canada, we're able to bring and get you the finance. Paul is a financial expert, and he is able to give you all the support that you need to get multiple financial instruments to grow and scale your business. This is no longer talk shop. These are experts in their field that can get you the help that you need to move your business vision to the next level. So I want to encourage you to reach out to us. Peter is an expert in his field. For years, he has been interfacing with pastors and ministers and people. And he's fully aware that every year people develop their New Year resolution. People have dreams and hopes and aspirations. But in his study, he has seen that in spite of how hard people apply themselves to achieve desired results, they're not achieving it. Why? Because they're going about it in the wrong way. Peter has studied successful formulas. He has developed his thesis, and now he's talking to you about your master plan. Guess what else? He's not going to say, go and do your master plan. He's going to help you do it. He's not going to say, just go and implement your master plan. He will be there to mentor, coach, and supervise the process to ensure that you have this comprehensive support to achieve your end results. So I want to encourage you to connect with each and every one of us here because we are here for the long term to give you the comprehensive support that you need to take your life to the next level. So you have your builder's plan, you have your corporate plan. Where is your personal life master plan? Talk to my friend Peter Scott. With that being said, I want to thank you again for being here and look forward to talking with you guys soon. Sunday morning again, remember, Sunday. I say Sunday, correct me, Monday. I want the days to go too fast.
I feel, I,
Huh?
I feel
Yes. So Monday, we will be starting a new program titled Competitive Edge. It's going to be a morning program, and we're going to be starting at 6 a.m. EST, 7 a.m. Caribbean time. I want to encourage you to come out, be a part of this program. All right? So do enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you guys on Monday. Okay, my friend. Take care. Yes, that was a